Welcome to The Intuitive Therapist with Janis Cohen, therapist, clairvoyant, empath, and medium. Listen in as she takes a no-nonsense deep dive into real human struggles and how to resolve them. Janis will share channeled information from her spirit guide team, as well as angels and archangels, to help you master your emotional, physical, financial, and spiritual destiny. And now, Janis R. Cohen.
Hey y'all, this is Janis Cohen, the Intuitive Therapist, here on the Intuitive Therapist podcast. So glad you're back for this week. We got some good stuff to talk about, but first I wanted to check in and see how y'all are doing with Mercury retrograde. You should kind of be getting into the thick of things, and I'm curious what is coming up for you. Because you can certainly expect more to come up. And like I said, as this year is the year for us to shed all the stuff that isn't working, all the people that aren't contributing to our lives, and for us to really hunker down, get serious and clear about the direction that we want to go in and how we want to show the world who we really are. And the topic that I'm talking about today is why you're angry and how you can resolve it for good. And this topic came to me, of course, because I see a lot of people who have varying degrees of anger. And most people take anger kind of at face value, and they think, well, anger is a kind of a one-off, a separate emotion. And I have to tell you, it really is not. There's a deeper root to anger. And there's also, it falls along a spectrum, right? Same thing as being in pain. So when you think about anger, you're going to start at kind of one end of the spectrum, which is kind of like disappointed, and then you're going to go all the way at the other end, which is rage. And in between is varying degrees of anger. And the bottom line is what underlies anger is pain. And we're going to talk about pain. We're going to talk about some concepts and content about expectations, because I will tell you this: anytime you have expectations, there is the highest likelihood, and most often it happens, 99.99% of the time, that you're going to get disappointed and hurt. So when we attach ourselves to outcomes, right, the way we think things should be, we're setting ourselves up. So we're going to talk a little bit about that. But if you've ever listened to my podcast, you're going to have heard that I have spent many years of my life, especially when I was in my 30s. That was a real pivotal time for me, really being angry. I was pissed off at the world. I pushed a lot of people away. I pushed my family away, pushed my friends away. I was really, really struggling, and I really was living a very, very low quality of life. Nobody taught me how to cope with my inner shit. And so I spent way too much time being pissed off at the world because of things that happened to me when I grew up. And some of that is whatever happened to me socially when I was a little kid. Dating was tough. Stuff I didn't like that my parents did. Things that were kind of forced on us that, I eventually rebelled against. And so I had all of this stuff in this lovely backpack that I was carrying around. And I had both middle fingers up to the world, and I was like, hell no. So I felt justified, protected, and strong when I held on to my anger. Think about times when you've held on to your anger. Doesn't it make you feel like, yeah, I'm justified. I can be mad because I have reason. And I really didn't let many people into my inner circle. And really, just like an addict, I held on to my anger with fervor and commitment on full throttle. And I constantly made room for it. I constantly accommodated to it. I constantly made sure that I fed the fire of it. But it wasn't until I decided that I just really didn't want to be pissed off all the time anymore. I couldn't take it. And I realized that my relationships with my family and friends were suffering, and it was all deteriorating, all because I chose to be angry. And you know what? I decided I wanted to make a different life for myself. In most of my podcasts, in most of my sessions, I always talk about the choice to make a different decision. So any of you that tell yourself this story that you're stuck and you can't ever get out of an emotion, I'm calling bullshit. Sorry, y'all. I'm calling it because I know what it's like to be on the hot side of the pillow with my hand right in the fire, and I also know what it's like to be on the cool side of the pillow with just a very unscathed palm. So I spent hours and hours trying to help y'all understand how powerful you are to step up to yourself in your life and be change agents in your own lives. And y'all, today is no different, right? What's new? So here's the long and short of it. You want to be a happier person? Then quit being fucking angry at everything and everyone in your life. It's one of those things that if you're a child, you are at the mercy of the adults around you. You really are. And everybody's accountable. But then you grow older and you get into adolescence or young adulthood. And as you become a young adult, you've got decisions to make. There are so many people I know who carry their pain forward and blame their past, the people in their past. I had a client just this morning who was talking about her older brother, probably in his mid-60s, who was still pissed off at his mother because of whatever reason. She didn't do X, Y, or Z when they were young. And so he's still pissed. But meanwhile, he's 60 some odd years old and has not worked on himself to resolve whatever it was that he needed to resolve. So you can't pull the card of, I can be angry at everybody else and they're responsible for my pain. That's not the truth. You are responsible for your pain. You carry it around and it doesn't hurt anybody else but you. I'm sure you want to tell me that I don't know what I'm talking about when I talk about just kind of stop being angry. And you could tell me that. You could tell me how hard it is, how hard your life has been, how much pain you're in, the hurt you have. And you know what? I believe you. I do not want to do any disservice to your life experience. I don't want to minimize your pain. I don't want to make you feel as if you don't have a right to it. You have a right to everything you feel. But in truth, really, do you want to be angry? Do you want to keep blaming other people instead of figuring out how to stop feeling what you don't want to feel? You can be so much more justified to be in joy than to be in anger. And you really are wasting your life being angry. You think you're protecting yourself from further pain. But let me tell you something, y'all. You are keeping yourself in a perpetual state of pain because you choose to carry around the insane weight of pain and anger. And you rob yourself of joy, right? You can set that weight down, sweetheart, anytime you want and keep yourself protected, but just in a different way. Many of y'all and almost all of my clients have grown up, me included, with painful experiences that really underlie our contempt for others. We can have all sorts of reasons why we don't like people or a particular kind of people, or we don't like our relatives or our teachers, or basically we can find evidence in any way at any time to justify how screwed we've been by life. And if you live that way, seeing life as just a perpetual state of being screwed, no way you're going to be happy. And you can spend your life doing that, and you will have no joy. And some of you have been violated in unthinkable ways, betrayed by those who were supposed to protect and defend you, and were exposed to people and experiences that seem to chip away and even destroy your innocence. I get that. I work with clients who've been through a ton of trauma. And again, like I said, I'm not looking to minimize what you've been through. I just want you to move beyond it in a way that makes you happy. So I want you out of that black hole that you're keeping yourself in because you can't get out of the field of pain that you live within. And it does take time to learn to understand the purpose of your pain in your life. And it does take time to really pause and take some distance to look at the truth of the people in your life that inflicted pain, that didn't know enough. They came from their own messed up, violated backgrounds, and all they did was do the exact same thing that the people before them did. How do you blame somebody for not knowing better? How do you hold somebody accountable for not having the insight to do differently? What happens is it's left to you, for you to see them as the challenged, limited human beings that they are, and that you are the one that changes the story, right? You're the one that passes down a different emotional genetic legacy. That's what I call it. You got that option. So here's the thing. Even though it takes time to understand the purpose of the pain in your life, it takes one moment in 1 millisecond to decide to let go of using your pain as your shield, preventing love and sweetness from entering your life. It takes a moment. We learn a lot about the world from our upbringing. 2 people can have similar experiences and choose to live their lives incredibly differently. There's a story I heard years ago that there were 2 people who were in this gas station. They were paying for their gas, or they were getting something, right? Went in, got a bag of chips, Coke, or whatever, and this guy came in with a gun, and he held the gun up, and he held the registrar, the person who ran the cashier, the person, he held them at gunpoint, and the two customers reacted very differently. One went into gratitude and was like, you know what, thank God I wasn't hurt. I'm safe. Everybody else is safe. And then the other became petrified and let the fear become trauma, and experienced a great deal of pain as that person moved on in their life. So the quality of your life comes down to the choices that you make on your own behalf in terms of how you choose to deal with, cope, and respond to what goes on in your life. I remember watching a movie with Will Smith, for the life of me, the name of the movie escapes me. Maybe when I tell you the description of it, you'll know. Will Smith played the role of a real-life character. It's a true story. This man was destitute, and he had a 5-year-old son that he had to be responsible for. He had no job, no home. He was selling these, I think they were vacuum cleaners, or there was some kind of cleaning machine, and he was peddling, and he had like one left, and I think somebody even stole that. So he had nothing, and he would take his son into the Subway bathroom, and not the sandwich shop Subway, but the Subway, lock the door and sleep in the bathroom because they had nowhere to go. He'd wash up in the bathroom, go on for another day, drop his son off at school. He knew there was more in life for him, and he knew that he was going to do whatever it took to make a life worth living for himself and his son. So he took an unpaid internship at a financial investment firm. And for the next 6 months, he worked his ass off, learning everything he could possibly learn. He knew nothing, but he knew he had to change his life. He had one suit, one shirt, one pair of socks, one pair of shoes, one tie. He wore that same outfit every day for 6 months. But he persevered, and he was at the top of his internship class. Little did he know, but he knew he was hauling ass, right? So one day, this is towards the end of the movie, they call him in, the whole panel of the partners, they call him in to this big meeting room, right? Everybody's seated, and he walks in. He knows this is Judgment Day, and that this was the day where he would either make the cut or he'd have to start back at ground zero. He had nothing but his drive, his love for his son, and his need to change his life. He couldn't afford to be angry at the world for not providing for him, or for screwing him, or for anything that happened in his life before. He had to make his world the way he needed it to be. And so he was among I think 60 other applicants for this one position in this company. So they invite him in. He sits down at the table and he's freaking out right inside. And he's trying to remain calm. And then they go as far as to say, well, there's only one position here. We have 60 applicants, people who've trained, who have degrees. There's only room for one. They asked him, do you know that? And he said, yeah. Turns out that they recognized his drive. They recognized his effort. They recognized his potential, how hard he worked. They knew nothing about what was going on outside of that internship position. They knew nothing about his struggle. Nothing. And so ultimately he won the entry position. And this man grew to become one of the most well-known investment bankers. And he became a multimillionaire. When what was interesting at the end, the last scene, the man who the movie is about, who it's based on, he appeared at the end of it, showed his face, and then walked away from the camera in his best suit. And I tell you that story because I want you to hear me when I tell you that while you may feel justified in being angry at the world for your bad deal, or your shitty past, or how you feel like people are out to take things from you that you've worked hard for, you are not helpless. There's always somebody to talk to. There's always a next step or a first step to ask for help, right? You are the best person who can change your life. You have as many resources as the next person to change your life. You can find someone somewhere who can help you, or at least help you find someone who can help you. It takes one decision in one moment to change your life. If being angry brings you joy, then my dear, stay pissed. But for some reason, I don't think you're really going to be happy if you're angry. You want to be happy? You have to pursue that with as much energy as you pursue your anger. Do that and see what happens in your life. Pursue joy, my sweetheart. Pursue joy. Decide to pursue joy and use your pain to make your life better. Stop blaming others for what's going on in your life right now. That time is is gone. Nothing can change from your past. Move forward. Figure your plan out. If you don't know how to figure a plan out, find somebody who can help you. And if I can be your starting point, I'm happy to. You know why? Because I believe in you. I have faith in you. I hope you have benefited from this podcast. I hope that if you've held on to any anger, any blame for anybody or of anybody, I hope that you make a decision to stop practicing that pattern. It's useless, gets you nowhere, and it only keeps you in pain. If you want to know about the 3 forces that can change your life, go ahead, hop onto my website at www.janisrcohen.com. That's JANISRCOHEN.com. And just enter your email into the opt-in there to get that report. It's going to help you understand the kind of things, the 3 forces that really influence your life and what you can do to just right now start to change it. And of course, y'all know how to reach me. You can always reach out via email or phone. And I hope today's episode has been a blessing and a wake-up call to you to seek your joy instead of seek your pain. I wish you a wonderful day, a blessed week, and as always, live intuitively.
Thanks for listening to The Intuitive Therapist with Janis R. Cohen. If you like what you heard, the best compliment you can give us is to share this podcast with a friend and subscribe, rate, and review at iTunes.